Hi everyone, hello. I'm so glad to finally get an opportunity to record a video for this channel. I haven't been able to do so for quite a while. Just been busy lately with work and some other private stuff going on. And today I've managed to spare some time to put together a video. So let's get to it. What I would like to show you today is two games that I've played recently on Lichess. Those are two rapid games, and I will be going through those games primarily focusing on opening and middle game phase. As a matter of fact, those are two very short games, and I want to show you how to play against opponents who violate opening principles or general middle game principles, things like development, central control, and king safety. I am a type of a person who doesn't really spend too much time to study openings or to memorize alliance. I'm rather trying to focusing on general opening or middle game principles as well as tactics and calculation. So let's get down to it. This is the first game I would like to show you. I'm playing here with white pieces, and both opponents that I have for those games are around 2000 rating, I should say, a bit higher than 2000 rating. So certainly they're not weak players, and I think if you are somewhere below that range, this analysis can be helpful for you to see how actually players who are, let's say, rated higher um, can get caught if they do not follow opening or middle game principles. So I play e4, my opponent plays e6 here, going for French defense. I played d4, so here I was expecting a move d5. My opponent went for c5, which I don't even know how it's really called. Like, I think I found a name which is like a I think it was called Franco Sicilian, if I'm not mistaken. But certainly by move 2 my opponent has managed to surprise me, and I've spent some time here and decided to play c3. I'm sort of playing the move to solidify my center. My opponent takes, so I have still my two central pawns here. They play knight f6. I defend with knight c3, bishop b4, bishop d3, because the pawn was hanging. Knight c6, knight f3, and they play here d5. Here I actually didn't have to capture on d5, but I thought I wouldn't mind having an isolated pawn, because we have quite a lot of pieces still on the board. So we go for this. I play here bishop to d2 to unpin the knight, and my opponent goes for queen to a4. And this was the first moment during the game where I felt like what my opponent is doing is not really is not really in line with opening principles, right? So I was expecting my opponent to castle at this point, to take the king out of the center, and instead they decided to try to pressure this knight or win a pawn. So I took on d5. We ended up in this position where I castled, and it looks like the pawn on d4 is hanging, but in reality it's not, because after knight takes, queen takes, I have this bishop to b5 check, and I with this queen. Obviously my opponent saw this, and they played e6, which I didn't quite understand the point behind this move, because this move doesn't really stop bishop to b5 check, right? So if we go, if I play, let's say here h3, and they take, I still have this move, so nothing really changes. But I said okay, maybe they just want to control the b5 square, and I played rook f to e1. Here I actually have a concrete straight in mind. I want to play bishop to e4 and kick this queen, and I think this position, oops, my mic fell down, and I think this position, fix my yeah, this position is the last moment where my opponent had a chance to castle. I think here black has to castle because it's getting a bit more dangerous for black king to stay in the center of the board, but my opponent decided to ignore the king safety and played the move bishop to d7. Here they finally managed to close down this diagonal, hoping to capture this pawn on d4 on the next move, but that probably wasn't the best way of approaching this particular position. I think again castling was mandatory. Here I play bishop to e4, I hit the queen goes to h5, and I play this move d5, essentially opening up the position. Black obviously cannot take, because if they take, I'm gonna have bishop to g5, winning the queen, and my opponent played knight to e5 here, sort of blocking this e line. But the problem here is that I capture on e6, and regardless of what actually my opponent captures with on e6, next move I will be taking on e5, and once they take back, I will be able to give a check with this bishop and have a discovery attack on the queen. They take with the f pawn, I take the knight. I think at this point my opponent realized that they cannot take because of this, and they decided to go bishop to d4, but essentially here I won a piece. So I traded the bishop and played queen to b4, not allowing my opponent to castle. The game continued, I think, for a couple of more moves, but at this point obviously white is completely winning. There's no chance that black has no really compensation for a piece, and the king is still in the center and probably will stay in the center for quite long. The main takeaway from this game is that you can really put some efforts into punishing your opponents who do not take the king safety seriously, which I think essentially what's happening here. I think here if black castles, I would still prefer my position here, even though I have here an isolated pawn, but I think I can very easily get actually rid of it with something like bishop to e4 and d5, and black still needs to figure out how to develop that bishop from c8. So very short game, right? Just showing you how this type of play can be dealt with, right? Second game I have here, again, this one is also going to be quite short. Is again the rapid game I played. Here I play with the black pieces. We go for this Sicilian defense, which is the openings that I play, and my opponent surprised me on move 5. I think here most of the time people play knight c3. I was not expecting this capture on c6. I was sort of, you know, thinking about what to capture with, but obviously I didn't want to allow the queen trade early on in the game. So I took with the b pawn, bishop to d3, defending the pawn. I play e5, just trying to control central squares and not really allowing white to push the pawn to e5. castle, bishop to c5. I prepared castle as well. I didn't quite understand this queen to e2 move. I think I was expecting to see something like knight to c3 or even bishop to g5, but after castles I realized what's the plan. Apparently my opponent wants to trade those bishops, which I understand, because probably they thought that the bishop on c5 is a strong piece, which I think it is, and maybe even not if it's not even a strong piece, but certainly well placed bishop. I played queen to b6, sort of asking white to take it if they want to. They do, and I put my queen on the closer to the center of the board. Knight c3, pretty normal defending move. Here I was trying to figure out what to play. I obviously cannot play d5 yet, but I decided that I will develop my rooks first by playing rook to b8 with the tempo. I'm attacking the pawn on b2, my opponent defends, and then I play rook to e8, solidifying this pawn on e5, and actually now I'm planning to play d5. Opponent plays the move h3. Didn't quite understand the point behind this move. I was certainly not planning to play bishop to g4, but maybe my opponent wanted to control that square. I don't even know what else they can play here, but there should be something better than just h3. Okay, I get a chance to play d5 here. My opponent made a significant mistake by allowing this trade. So by taking on d5, now I end up having a monster central control here. So I'm controlling my 2 pawns on e5 and d5 are controlling all the central squares. At this point I was very happy with the position that I got out of the opening. The opponent went to bishop to b5 with a tempo and attack on the rook. I just slide the rook to e7, bishop to a4, and here I played the move e4, sort of pushing the pawns forward. That was my idea behind it. I did not want to play d4 because here white will get a chance to put the knight to e4, and also I can take and play something like bishop to b7. I think I didn't want to allow them play the move e4. Here I actually have to admit that I missed a very nice opportunity, a very nice tactical opportunity actually, and I posted this on Twitter and said that I was so happy with my central control here. I couldn't really look at the side of the board. Like I was so focused on the center, which is a mistake, which is not something that I should be doing. But here apparently I could have utilized a few tactical opportunities here. The first tactical opportunity is that this bishop is defended by this knight, which can be pressured with the move like d4, and white queen and the rook are on the same diagonal. So technically, if I have some control over a6 square, I can play a move like bishop to a6 and skewer the queen and the rook, and this is very easily achievable. All I need to do is to play a move queen to a5. So here I'm gaining control over the a6 square. I'm threatening to play the move bishop to a6, and at the same time I'm threatening to play the move d4. So now I'm threatening to kick the knight away from c3 and captures that bishop. So white would need to play something like bishop to b3, after which I'm winning an exchange. So that was an opportunity that I missed. But again, like I was probably too excited or focused on the center of the board. white plays bishop to b3, and I get a chance to push the second pawn as well. And here I go to bishop queen to g5. White really has no way to defend against this capture on h3. They play queen to d1. I capture the pawn. Now I'm essentially going to be winning the exchange, and those two pawns will be rolling forward. The game didn't end here. I mean, we played a couple of more moves, but the idea here is that the position is already winning, and it's because the opponent gave up on the central control very easily, which is not something you should be doing in your games. That is essentially it. That's what I had planned for this video. Two quite short games. I hope you found them informative. I hope you can see how we can play against guys around this rating without really too much of an opening prep, without really too much of theory. Thanks for watching. If you have any feedback or comments, please let me know. Just leave your comment under this video. I will definitely respond and get back to you. Thank you once again for watching. Have a nice day. Take care. Bye.